What's going on, guys? This is Dave from Otaku, and as of a couple of days ago, on the 17th, 16th, I have been learning Japanese for 6 months. So I wanted to do an update video and talk about what I've been doing. I wanted to start this update video with my JCAT results, but I have yet to take the JCAT, so I guess that's just not gonna happen. So I applied for a username, password for the JCAT probably like 4 or 5 days ago, and I haven't gotten a response back yet. I'm sure that's because here in the States, we're at a holiday weekend, or about to be. I think tomorrow's Thanksgiving. So I will have to do that later, and I guess I'll just make a different video for that. But I did want to talk about what I've been doing so far. I've been studying Japanese using the Let's Learn Japanese or the MIA, AJATT method, whatever you want to call it. It's kind of a mix of all of them, and it's kind of like me doing my own thing because there's no such thing as properly following any method perfectly, I don't think. You gotta do what works for you. I always joke around and call it some Japanese some of the time because I'm a busy ass adult and I have a real life. I'm active duty military. Yeah. But I did want to talk about some of the resources that I've been using and where I'm at so far. So as far as ANKI goes, ANKI is my main program that I use. It's a flashcard app that I use to learn Japanese. So far for my vocabulary cards specifically, I have completed about 1,500 cards, like 1496. So I have about 1,500 vocabulary that I know came exactly from ANKI. That's not including stuff that I've learned in Immersion, which there's been a bunch of that too. But yeah, and as far as notes altogether, so my ANKI cards, a lot of them, not all of them, but a good amount are split into 2 sides. They have like a reading side where I have to read the sentence in Japanese, understand all the kanji, be able to read the kanji, and then they also have a listening side where I just have to be able to listen to the sentence read by a native speaker and interpret what it means and get it proper and all that stuff, understand the grammar, everything, right? Just gotta understand Japanese. Genius. But the main book series or the main method that I've been using to learn Japanese is with this Tango book series. This is a book series suggested by Math vs. Japan. It's also suggested by Nuke Marine, both who are, you know, they're senpais. I'm listening to them. Yeah. So they are JLPT prep books. I did a review on the N5 book. I completed that a couple of weeks ago or so, maybe a month ago, and now I'm on the JLPT N4 book. So far, I love the N4 book. I'll probably do a review of this one too when I'm near the end, if that's useful, if people say that's useful. But yeah, so I do about a vocabulary. This is where I get on the vocabulary from, because these are great. It's a sentence book, and you know, all the vocabulary is presented in a sentence, and it's all presented in I+1 format. At least with vocabulary, it's not I+1 grammar format, but you know, sometimes the sentences are I+2 if you include grammar. But that being said, I think it's a great resource. I did notice going from the N5 to the N4 book, there was a huge bump in grammar because it stopped using N5 grammar only. It also started using N4 grammar, right? Makes sense. But so that was a hurdle. But otherwise, I really like this book. So I do about 140 reviews a day on ANKI based on sentences on this book. And then I add, I don't know, I add 30 new cards a day, which ends up being about 15 to 20 new vocab words. Like I said, half of my cards are reading, half of them are listening. So yeah, you know, you get about 15 to 20 new words that way. Because not all of my cards are reading and listening cards. Some of them are just listening or just present the new vocab word. I'm also switching these ANKI decks, which are pre-made, mostly, you know, not completely initially made by Nuke Marine, but he's the one who's been handing them out, at least to me and to other people. I've been switching my deck from being, the decks are built to have just N5 level kanji in them, and I'm switching mine, or N4 if you're on the N4 book, I'm switching mine over to full kanji. I showed how to do that in my last video on the review of the N5 book. And yeah, I'm not sharing those decks. I don't want the responsibility of sharing those decks. So if you want the deck, buy the book, ask Nuke Marine, he will give you the deck. Yeah, but that's how it's gonna be. Anyways, I love these books out, and I think they're doing a great job, and they're teaching me a lot about Japanese, and it's helping me a lot, and I'll get into that soon. I have on this tablet, I don't know if you guys can see it or not, I have a copy of Tae Kim's grammar guide. I've been reading a section of that every single day. and I just find that helpful. And then, you know, for other stuff for grammar, whenever I run into some grammar that I don't understand in this book or in some of my immersion that I want to look up, I'll just Google it real quick. I want to make sure that every single sentence that goes into Anki that I'm completely understanding properly. And yeah, so I'll just Google it, and most of the time it comes up in Tae Kim anyways, but if you just type in like the grammar point that you're trying to look, like kareru, grammar. That's it, it's pretty easy. As far as kanji goes, a while back I went through, not a while back, a couple of months back, I went through all of Remembering the Kanji by Dr. Hasig, and I'm still reviewing my kanji cards every single day, although I switched them from having the right amount, like the traditional method, to Lazy Kanji style, so now I'm just doing Lazy Kanji. I have about 40 reviews a day at most now, and most of my kanji are mature, like 95% of them or so. Although I will say, I can definitely feel my kanji powers, they're slipping, right? They're nowhere near as good as they were as when I was actively doing it and writing them out every single day. But I am also noticing that for some of the kanji, the ones that I have words for, not all of them, but a lot of them, I can just remember the word, especially if it's like a compound kanji word. If it's the first kanji, I can usually remember that and like how it's pronounced. But yeah, still doing kanji. As far as reading immersion goes, I've been doing something new and exciting that I love, and it makes me super, super happy, which is this. I'm playing Pokemon, right? And this is awesome to me. So this is like the new Pokemon game. This is Let's Go EEVEE. I'm playing it in Japanese. If you have a, North American region lock switch, you can still play this game in Japanese. When you start a new game, it allows you to choose Japanese, and it also lets you choose whether you want to do kana only or kanji, which is great. The Japanese in this game is super simple, and I find that like without a dictionary for the most part, I'm understanding like 70–80% of it, maybe more. And the words that I'm not understanding, like there are new words presented to me, I only have to see it a couple of times, or look it up a couple of times, and it kind of just sticks. Like there's gonna be words in there that are not on like your most common, it's not gonna be an N5 word or an N4 word, like shobu, which means like battle. Like it's just not, maybe it's an extremely common word to see in like manga or anime or video games, but like in real Japanese conversation, people don't say shobu too often, I don't think. I'm guessing. I don't know. But because I'm not sentence mining right now, although I think I'm going to start now that I'm playing this game, and I've been writing down all the words that I've been learning from it that are new to me. Those words aren't coming up as much. It's mostly just like real everyday Japanese as opposed to like video game Japanese. But that being said, it's been a lot of fun. And I would say that if somebody's doing like the same route as me and they're doing the Tango books, after you finish the N5 book, you can kind of start playing really basic JRPGs, and that's awesome. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, it helps that I know the game, but I've been loving it, honestly. It's been great. When I see a kanji and I don't know how to pronounce it, so I can't like type it into like Jisho or something like that, I'll just use like Google Translate or another app, because it has like a writing section. You can just write the kanji out. That helps a lot. And then once I learn how to write it out, then I'll bring it over to Jisho and type it out. And sometimes if it's one that I've seen, like a word that I've seen a lot, then I'll write down the sentence and I'll throw it in like a notepad and I'll save it for later. That way, if it comes up in the game again, I can just go look at Notepad and be like, oh, how does that pronounce again? Oh, it's shobu. Okay, cool. And then I might take that Notepad and turn it into like a sentence mining deck for myself, because I'm kind of already doing sentence mining. I'm just not making it into an Anki deck, right? That's it. As far as like, and I'm sorry. Other things I've been doing is on my phone. I have also started playing some games. There's this really cool APK that you can download. You have to download the APK. I don't think it's in the Google Play Store or anything. This is only for Android. I don't know if it works on iPhone or not, but there's this app called QooApp, Q-O-O app. And it allows you to download Japanese games from Japan, like from their Play Store. And yeah, I mean, what a great way to be able to, get a little bit of immersion that's fun on the go. Or if you're just sitting on your couch and you're lazy, you don't want to pull out a video game, or you don't want to watch anime, you want to do something. You know, so like I saw on Reddit, and I just looked up like easy apps to play, and I didn't find too much. So if you guys have suggestions, I would love to hear them because I want to learn by playing video games a little bit more, because I find that to be a pretty interactive and fun way. But I started playing a game called Shiro Neko Tennis, you know, white cat tennis, and you know, I find that most of the Japanese in that is pretty easy to understand, and you know, I can understand most of the instructions, and there's like a little bit of story in there, and people talking back and forth, so you're getting like a little bit of conversational Japanese, and people being like, I challenge you, whatever. It's fun. It's like a great way to get immersion and distract myself at the same time. So QooApp, I might make a video about how to download QooApp because I've had a couple people ask. If that's something you guys want, let me know. Listening immersion, you know, I listen to Japanese every single day. I work out a couple times a week, probably 4 times a week or so, and I will listen while I'm working out, and I will also listen while I'm driving, as long as my wife's not in the car. Although when my wife's in the car, we usually listen to Japanese music, put on that weeb shit. Yeah, so I'm probably getting at least an hour every single day of listening immersion. I find that it helps. Oh, about Pokemon, so far I've done 20 hours or so, maybe more. I couldn't tell you exactly. Well, I could. Yeah, 20 hours. So far I've done 20 hours. Yeah, since the game came out a couple of days ago. Don't judge me. As far as visual immersion, I watch anime every single day. I try to watch at least an episode by myself every single day and just like straight up, you know, immerse as much as I can. And then I watch a lot of anime with my wife because she likes anime too. Or like movies and stuff like that, like Japanese live action movies or dramas or whatever. She's into that stuff, so that helps. Usually though, we do watch it with English subtitles, but what I've been doing, and people can say what they want about this, but it's working, I just don't read the subtitles. You know, like everyone says, oh, it's impossible, your eyes are gonna wander and you're gonna read the subtitles. Like, you can train yourself just to not read subtitles. And the way I do this is like, whoever's speaking, I just watch their mouth. You know, I just don't read the subtitles. And I find that it's working just fine. Yeah. As far as speaking, no, I don't get any speaking immersion. I guess the only thing I do for speaking is when I hear one of my cards, especially the audio cards, or when I'm reading it, I usually read it out loud because, you know, I'm a Japanese 4-year-old and I can't read inside my head very well yet. Although I've been practicing a little bit, I'm sure it's, you know, I mean, my cards are all with native audio, so I think that helps. So I'm probably doing mediocre to okay with pitch accent, but yeah. So anyways, that's pretty much it. You know, I'm pretty happy with the progress I've made so far. It's been 6 months. I'm understanding a good portion of my immersion as far as like anime go and stuff like that. I can just listen to things in my car and generally get the gist of what's going on. I don't know how to apply like a percent value to it. People do that all the time. They're like, oh, I understand 70% of my immersion. I can understand with the video games because like, there's, you know, I'm reading it, so I can understand like, I'm probably understanding about this much, but as far as like audio immersion, it's hard to say because I don't know if I'm getting it right or not. I will say that like, based on like what Katsumoto said years and years ago, he said you kind of like hit these 3 stages or 4 stages. First stage is like, you don't understand shit. And the second stage is you start understanding, like you hear a word or hear or two that you start to understand. And then third stage is you are like, oh, well, you're picking up phrases, right? You're starting to understand like different phrases and stuff. And then the fourth stage is you're understanding most of it. You're getting most of the phrases, and then there's only a couple of words that you're missing here and there. And then the fifth stage is you just understand it, right? Or if there was a fifth stage. But I think that's how he basically just described it. And I would say that I'm moving from stage 2 into stage 3. Like I'm no longer just hearing words here and there. I'm starting to pick up sentences and phrases that I know, or being able to like, oh, this and that means this, you know, I'm starting to piece things together. So I'm there, I don't know. Let's call that 50%. Maybe I'm understanding 50 or 60% of my immersion. I would say I'm right on track. My streak in ANKI is 130 days. My streak in the Tango deck specifically is at 82 days. So, and I've never missed a day doing the Tango decks. So in 82 days, I've gotten all the way through the N5 book, and I'm now on chapter 2 in the N4 book. There's a bunch of words that I got to skip, but yeah. Anyways, don't want to ramble too much, although I'm sure I have a little bit. Thank you so much for watching this video and following along with my progress. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, please let me know. You can hit me up in the comments below. If you have any suggestions, please tell me. I'm I wanna do this the best way I can. Like I said, I am a busy ass adult, so I can't get 24-hour immersion. It's just not gonna happen. I also have a wife and a life, and I'm trying to balance this, but I am probably moving to Japan in the next year and a half or so with the military, so I'm trying to really learn how to use and understand Japanese. So if you have any comments or suggestions, please let me know. If you have any comments or suggestions for video games, I have no problem doing emulators and ROMs, so for like older systems, or if it's a really good game and you have my interest for it, I'll buy it for PlayStation. If you have any comments for manga or anime or anything, I'd love to hear it. I'm always looking for new shit. Recently I've been watching Fooly Cooly again. That's a great one to immerse with. It's only 6 episodes long, so I can like redo it a couple times. Awesome. But anyways, yeah guys, if you liked the video, please like the video, and if you would like to see more content, go ahead and subscribe, and yeah, I guess that's gonna be it for me. Alright, thanks so much guys.